Hello guys, how are you? So today I adjusted my microphone a bit. Yesterday I think it was a bit too loud. Hopefully now it's just right. Hello guys, how are you? And I have prepared a topic for today. It's going to be, again, a short video. I'll try to make those streams within 15 minutes. Maybe I will overrun a bit, but not much longer. And sometimes by the end of the video, I will share with you one code that you could use to get access to 3Commas. By the way, yesterday, after I have done a stream and some people watched it, and I also posted it later on Twitter, and I gave the code. Uh, and after I posted that, I think even after an hour, the code was still not used. So this is good, I think, because a lot of you who are already subscribed to my channel, who know me, you are probably already are using 3Commas, so you don't need this 1 month's access. And the good news is that even if you miss the live stream, you can go back and check it out, maybe in recording. Hey, Sean, good to see you in the chat. Let me wave. So today's topic, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my 3Commas relationship, and it's actually very good, Sean, that you are here with me. I wish we could, have like a live voice discussion, but I know your story a little bit from what I read. Right, I tried to follow, what's going on in this small world of ours, and I know that you actually had a bit of a problem with 3Commas. So I wish I wish you would be live with me just to kind of give your uh, account of that. But you can also type in the chat, and those who watch it now live or late in recording can read about it. So for me, this whole public persona for me, actually, it started in January 2021. Somewhat public, right? Because I still don't use the camera, and I also used kind of like electronic voice earlier on, and I thought it was appropriate, but anyway, I moved on. So it's going to be, what is it? 22, 23, 24, right? It's going to be 3 full years just in a few weeks. 3 full years since I'm very much fully immersed into the world of cryptocurrency trading with automation. And I didn't jump to 3Commas trading initially at that time. I think the very first platform that I actually did use for automating trades was Bitsgap. And at that time, it was okay. I think they were kind of early, and it was at that time, yeah, thanks, Sean. And they only had grid trades, and then they tried to expand, but I think the pricing was just too expensive, and there was some issues. So I started with Bitsgap. Then I was looking a lot at some native grid trading on Binance, and then 3Commas came along, kind of appeared on my radar. So this was around, I don't know, spring of 2021. And I'm kind of sharing with you this a bit as a story to, the focus was on the relationship, right? How I was interacting with 3Commas. So as I started, of course, I was no one, obviously, and they have, I don't know how many users they have. I'm sure they have a good 10,000 or maybe even more users, right? But what really helped me is actually to start establishing a bit of a relationship with them as the people behind the platform and community. Now, 3Commas always, like, their community is not that strong as it should be, I think. Um, the platform's community. They try. I think they try quite a lot, and they especially in the last, I think, few months, had done a lot of proactive actions, be it features or adding different people to kind of speak on their behalf and present their content on their behalf. So they're active on Twitter, but they're even more active on Telegram. And I know they have a Discord as well, but I'm not in their Discord. Maybe I am, I'm just not active there. And the community is a very, very important aspect for this particular industry, especially if you are just starting out. You definitely need to bounce some ideas from people. You sometimes get stuck on simple things. And it really helps for you to be able to reach out to someone. So 3Commas has these official platforms, such as their, as I'm showing now, Twitter. They have Telegram. I will not show it. And then they have Discord. But that's not all. What I also like is that they have their like help, live help feature. And they're really live people behind, and I interacted with many of them. With some of them, I had maybe kind of like a very dry discussion, but with some, they really got deep into the topic that I was bringing up, and they were responsive. So that is really, really important, I think, for all of us, be it just a beginner or someone who's at the later stages, maybe already expecting some other things from the platform. One of the shout out, if I may, is to my I don't know how to properly call them. Basically, I call him a partner for my 3Commas. Vlad, he's been very. We've been talking with Vlad for I think 1.5 years now, and he's been very helpful in different ideas, be it me sharing something back to him or him asking me to give feedback or to engage users. And it's actually Vlad who was giving me these codes that I'm sharing with you guys. So I'll give you the today's code in 5 minutes, and then I'll show it on the screen and post it in the chat, and you can record it. And if you don't have an active account, just feel free to use it immediately on your 3Commas. If you haven't registered, you should. You can register for free, and then you can add that code to kind of extend your features and functionality. So I'll give you the code in a moment, but back to my discussions about the community. So community part is very important, I think, for traders who are of a technical nature, who do this kind of a automated trading, who don't just sit and watch the charts, but who use a lot of the tools. 3Commas did have some issues. I'll speak about them as well now. But one of the things, again, I want to point out is that behind each business, behind each service, behind each platform, there are real people. Like I mentioned Vlad just a moment ago. There's a few others who are interacted, Nick, and so on. So it's with these people that I was able to establish this trust and relationship. And it's due to these particular people, even though there were issues and these issues, some of these issues actually resulted in some financial losses. But somehow we were able to move on because there was a trust, acknowledgement of problems, and some kind of a way forward. So one notable incident that has happened to me was there was a bug one time with 3Commas where some orders triggered multiple times. So the deal start condition actually was kind of ignored, or it was used, then deal started, and then it was used again. So instead of, for example, one deal, I had multiple deals started. And this was an issue. This was an issue because, especially if you trade on futures, you end up having a larger position than you actually planning to. So I did chat with support. They acknowledged the issue. They like I had some financial losses there. They didn't really reimburse me or anything like that. And I think it's kind of a tough issue. Now, coming back maybe, Sean, to what you face and maybe some other people due to a hack. So there was a hack during the last year, API related, where people had also suffered some losses. I think these platforms probably have some kind of legal um, quite a sophisticated legal conditions where they limit themselves from being liable, and the reimbursements, if or any kind of action to make people whole again, I think would totally depend on their goodwill, right? So I and this is my opinion. So I think they're not legally liable, but rather it's up to their goodwill to fix the issues that they caused, if they caused any issues, and to help the users to recover. So in my case, there was not a financial another financial reimbursement of that after that incident, but there was quite a deep discussion, and somehow I thought I'd give them another chance, and I did, and they continue to kind of maintain my trust, and from the features and usability and growth and stability, all these various dimensions, uh, I I still am with 3Commas. So that's the story essentially. Maybe I just forgot to mention one milestone. As I started with them in spring of 2021, I was kind of no one, as I mentioned, they have thousands of users. So one way I was able to get their attention and we started to work together a little bit is by me producing a series of educational videos on a bot that I called Tiny DOGE. So this was done in June 2021. I created a DCA bot that I called the Tiny Long Doge, trading a Dogecoin. And then I created this one. And with this bot, I entered a competition. So at that time, 3Commas said, well, create a video about us and we'll do the voting and then we'll select the best ones. So I wasn't the very top one. I think I was among the top 3. And people found it quite helpful, that video, the Tiny Long Doge, because I actually explained how some of the settings work. But the other thing is that the strategy that I presented actually was pretty decent. So I created some additional follow-ups here. There was like 4 videos on the Tiny DOGE bot. I explained how to backtest DCA strategy, how to trade DCA strategy on futures and be mindful of your liquidation levels and properly budget your bot and things like that. So this whole Tiny Doge, that's the kind of brand name of this bot, was done now a while ago, but still was very, very impactful. So it earned a bit of a reputation for me. So we started to cooperate with 3Commas, but also I think the strategy itself is good. So in the next video, I actually can dive into the Tiny Doge and show you some of the settings again and maybe give you a bit more recommendations on how the strategy can be still relevant now 2 or 3 years after I published this. And now just to read what Sean wrote. So Sean wrote, yes, there is a real issue, providing that someone who says they got hacked was actually hacked. I do feel that 3Commas could have done more. Um, also decided to give them another chance. Okay, so Sean, you giving them another chance. That's good. I didn't like how they communicated during that hack. I think they were very, very defensive. And if their focus was kind of switched from defense to being really open and investigative, I think they could have reacted faster, more kind of understanding towards the community, putting themselves in the community shoes, and possibly did not have such a big backlash against them. That's just my 2 cents there. So guys, let me now give you the code. So I am now putting this on the screen and I'm copying it and putting it in the chat. Sean, thanks so much for also sharing your feedback and for giving them a chance. Look, just one recommendation. You can have sub-accounts. So when you connect your exchanges, for example, to 3Commas or to some other platform, like don't connect your main account. Create a sub-account, for example, with whatever, a few hundreds or whatever amount you want, and connect with API that particular sub-account and trade that one. That is a better recommendation. I know the API enhancement was increased multiple times, but of course there's still some kind of risks. I think some of the biggest risks companies face, all kinds of companies, is the insider attack risk. So very difficult to kind of minimize that particular risk, and you need to think how you can protect yourself. And as I mentioned, my recommendation is by diversifying, not putting all of your eggs into one basket. So with this, I'm closing to this session. Happy to have you, Sean, on the chat. I'm not sure if someone else was watching. Please join me next time. I'll think of some other topics to share with you. I'm not scripting these chats very thoroughly, so sometimes I'm all over the place, but it's a live stream. Guys, thanks again and talk to you tomorrow.